China's hacked into a surveillance system in the US, and in Japan, a helpline for people wanting to get away from the Yakuza. What is that?
Yeah, these are two examples of where bad security is actually going to really put people's lives at risk. So the US has had a long time a surveillance system where it basically co-ops the tech firms, in this case the telcos, to provide too much information to the secret services and so on and so forth, the intelligence services. And my bet is that some of this technology is quite old these days. And so the Chinese have managed to hack into the surveillance system. And so the Senate Intelligence Committee has admitted this and said we are fearful that they've been listening into phone calls and reading people's texts, which is usually what the US government is doing. So that's pretty depressing. And I have to say, I'm going to put in my bit that that whole system, which is propped up by bad law and compliant senators, needs to fundamentally change. And I hope that this hacking will cause them to actually think afresh about how to actually do this, because it's not a good system. And on the other side, which is...
Yeah, sorry, Kieran, no, carry on, please, sorry.
No, and on the other side, they set up a helpline for people who want to leave the Yakuza, which is basically the Japanese mafia, a sort of famously violent organization, promising full confidentiality. Contact us and we'll help you get out, because it's very difficult to get out of that organization, organized crime. And their systems were phished. Some guy who was working on it got an email saying, "Oh, you've been hacked or something. Please contact this call center to fix it," which he did. And of course, the Yakuza got access. So now there's a couple of thousand people whose lives are at serious risk who are contacting them to say, "I want to escape organized crime." And now organized crime has their personal details. So that is not good.
And Emily, this follows on from the Global Anti-Scam Alliance we were listening to in Washington, cases where people are phishing, are engaging in a relationship with people online, and then getting them to subsequently report problems to legal services, and actually watching what they're typing into those report forms. And so you're finding these pools of safety for victims being more and more compromised. We're going to talk about the British Airways outage, but there's this sort of over-trust, isn't there? We saw it with the Horizon scandal, the most terrible scandal of all times involving IT systems and people going to prison, where there's this sort of, just because it's been written, just because it's been built, it must be trusted.
There's so much going on at the same time, which is contradictory. So I think we overtrust what the computer says versus, what we might think.
There's the famous sketch, the computer says no, because the computer's right and humans are wrong.
And also these sort of big, large-scale hacks undermine trust and confidence. So sometimes people don't trust what they should trust, do trust what they shouldn't trust. And these hacks, they just keep coming. There was a major hack in 2015 of the Office for Personnel Management in the United States, where millions of records, everybody who worked for the government in whatever capacity, was then that leaked to China, it's thought. And that put the lives of agents at risk, because you could identify who was working for the intelligence services from that. So we rely on technology. It doesn't always work for us, and we as humans are fallible, and technical systems are fallible.
Right.